we were on a raid one time, and we were supposed to go to this farm. There were supposed to be all these insurgents, you know, living on this farm, and these were bomb makers and, you know, people who were giving bomb makers money, and they were supposedly just a real bad group of people. So in the middle of the night, my squad and I, we were doing this raid, and it's the middle of the night, and it's the middle of summer, so it's really hot. So Iraqis, a lot of them will sleep outside. They'll move their beds outside. And they sleep as a family unit. So they'll sleep like, you know, there'll be 10 people laying in beds and mattresses side by side. Well, in the middle of the night, when you've got all this gear on, it's pitch black, you know, you're scared because you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe, you know, they're going to be waiting to ambush you or whatever. You're on pins and needles. You know, we come up on this group in the middle of the night, this big group of people laying in the middle of the front yard of this farm. And I'm telling my guys, I'm like, you know, be quiet, don't wake them up. They might be bad guys. They might have weapons, you know, whatever. Be careful. So we surrounded them, basically. There's probably about 10 of us. And we all had our weapons. We had flashlights on our weapons, you know. And I told my guys, I was like, hey, just on the count of 3, everybody shine your light on them and make your presence known, you know, so that they don't jump up and try to shoot us. And we did that, count of 3, and everyone hit their flashlights, which are attached to the end of the gun. You know, we're standing there over them. And my light just happened to be on the face of an old man. I mean, the guy was probably like 60, 65 years old. And the look on his face, I've never seen anyone so scared in my life. I've never looked fear in the face. But that man's face, he was so scared. He screamed. I mean, he screamed. It was a guttural, like, just, I mean, from his soul, he was scared. Every bone in his body was terrified. And I saw why he was terrified. Because as I looked down the line at all the people laying next to him, it was his wife and his son and his grandchildren. And here we're standing over him with weapons pointed at him in the middle of the night, you know, at his home. And he was terrified. When we were walking away, I looked at my buddy. I was like, hey, man, I was like, that was horrible. I can't believe we just did that. We're the bad guys.
I don't think that's winning over anyone.
You don't win hearts and minds by doing that. I mean, if anything, we just created a whole family of terrorists or people who are going to at least support terrorist or insurgent activity.
When I was in Iraq, we got called because there was a little incident that happened. There was a roadblock set up by Bradley, big old tank, and a chicken truck drove through this roadblock. And so what do these guys do? They shot this chicken truck that had 3 generations of a family in it, with over 1,000 rounds of machine gun fire. Because of curiosity, human curiosity being what it is, I ended up looking inside of this truck. The real thing doesn't look real when you see it. When you see such carnage, it doesn't even look real. There's a young boy who actually survived the chicken truck. He somehow survived with only a gunshot to his leg. Our medic, he fixed him up, took him to the hospital, and the next day, we were going to release him, and then they finally decided, no, we're not going to release him. What we did was, we put him in a cage about this high, that high. We put him in a cage about that high in a prison that was at the other base. And we left him there. I'm not sure for how long. That's something for the MI guys to know what went on. But we just killed 3 generations of his family. And now we just put him in a prison.
Even up in Mosul, there was an instance where a car got too close to the convoy, and it was a car full of a mother, her son, her teenage son, and 3 daughters who were probably 6, 8, and 10 years old. And the car got a little too close, and they put warning shots through the window, and one of the shots hit the mother straight in the face, and she died. And I'll never forget the 3 little girls.
We're not fighting the war over there because we'd be fighting it over here. I hear that every day. You know, well, if we're fighting the war over there, so we don't have to fight it here. It's BS. We're making new enemies every day. Every day, you know, one of these young kids, you know, on a gun who's scared out of their mind, you know, an IED goes off and they just start shooting and innocent people die. And then we got, you know, 40 more people who hate us, that person's family that died.
Whenever I see a yellow ribbon on the back of the car that says support our troops, you know, mixed emotions with that one. I have a problem with it because In a way, it's a cop-out. I mean, to say, well, I'm not really sure, I don't really have an opinion on the war, I don't really know why we're there, I really don't care, but I do support the troops. You know, that's, you're not supporting the troops by putting a bumper sticker on your car. You know, you're not supporting the troops by having an American flag, you know, pasted on the back of your tailgate. You know, that's not supporting the troops. You know, that's supporting your ability to justify why we're over there. That's what you're supporting. You're making yourself feel better.
It's scary that, you know, people believe all these lies that are being told about, you know, lies from day one that the war began. It's just amazing how brainwashed and indoctrinated these, you know, our people have become. And, you know, I don't mean to sound mean, but it's true. Everybody inside or in the U.S. lives in a bubble of comfort. And anything outside that bubble, you know, they don't care about until, you know, it gets popped or somebody from, you know, somebody inside their bubble gets affected by it.
What you're doing is wrong. I can't believe you're speaking out against the war and you're not supporting the troops. And my response is, well, you know, brother, if you don't think I'm supporting the troops, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to ensure that when my brothers do deploy over there, they have the equipment that they need to deploy. When I went over there, I didn't have body armor. I mean, a lot of us that are still deploying don't have the proper body armor, don't have the proper equipment. And I'll be damned if more and more of my brothers and sisters deploy over there and they don't get the equipment that they need. So who's really supporting the troops? Is it this government that somehow we have the money to give the biggest tax break ever in American history, but we don't have money for direct fire pay. We don't have money for family separation pay. We don't have money for body armor. We don't have money to armor the trucks. But somehow, for some reason, the upper 1% of America is getting a huge tax break. How the hell can you justify that?
You're afraid to say stuff like this because people say, well, you don't support the military. Well, you don't support our troops. Well, you're not patriotic. You're not you're a defeatist. And they have all these terms for that. But, you know, no, we have a responsibility to our country, sure, but we have a responsibility first to the world. You know, we share this world with different cultures, different societies, different religions. You know, this is not America's world. While we may have a lot of things that the other people don't, it's not our, you know, we have a responsibility to humankind before anything. And I think, you know, as far as Dustin and I are concerned, we've talked about this for hours. The reason we're outspoken about it is because I really don't feel like we're the good guys in this thing. I really don't. I mean, how can you experience what we've experienced and see the things we've seen and feel good about it? You just can't.